So guys, I've been thinking about something that I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking of as well. Guys, a lot of these women just aren't ready to commit, right? We're seeing that across the board. We're seeing that a lot now. And I'm going to be honest, I think it's for a few reasons, right? One of the reasons is the feminism that has plagued society for many decades now, right? And it's basically turned them into men haters, which is funny because a lot of women do want to be provided for. A lot of women want to have a husband. A lot of women want to have a boyfriend. But they don't know what to do once they get them, or they can never seem to get the man that they're looking for. You see, I feel almost pretty bad for a lot of women because they were brought up in a society where their mothers, their grandmothers, the icons that they look up to, right, whether that's music, the media, tell them that they don't need a man, or if you do have a man, make sure he's a millionaire. Make sure he does whatever you want, right? He's got to wait on you hand and feet. He's got to treat you like a queen. And guys, I'm going to say something here and bear with me for a second because I'm going to add to this. But a lot of women want to have a man that they can submit to. So you see this conflict, right? They want to commit to a man. They want to submit to a man, right? And we think submit is a really bad word. But it's in, I would say, most females' nature. They want to find a man that they can look up to, that they feel protected and safe and provided for by. So you have women who, they meet a guy, right? And they basically these guys end up in one of two categories. And this is where a lot of the red pill, blue pill, alpha, beta think came from. And there is some truth to that, guys, but it's a lot more, there's a lot more gray area to it. Let's put it that way. Ultimately, there's two conflicts. On one hand, they want a man who's going to, of course, be a kind man, who's going to be there for them, who's going to care for them, who's going to listen to them, who's going to make them feel safe. But when they find that man, they don't want him to be too much. And what I mean by that is a lot of women will find that guy. They'll find a guy who can protect, who can provide, who can do all of these things, who makes them feel safe. But this man wants respect, right? And what a lot of women want is the man that doesn't want that. There's been a saying that's been going around, maybe you guys have heard about this. There's been a saying that basically a woman wants a alpha man, right? Just to use some context, who is also a simp, right? They want alpha simps. But what happens is those alpha simps, if they get those guys, right, they're going to hate them after a while. They're going to break them down. They're going to want them to fit into what mold they think they want, and they're not going to be attracted to them anymore, right? Because then they don't have those qualities, those masculine qualities that they were really attracted to in the first place. So then they start to resent them. And a lot of times, guys, I'll be real with you, there's a lot of guys, a lot of masculine men out there who just get comfortable. They get complacent. I've been here. You know what you want as a man. You start out being very upfront and having firm boundaries, but over time you let them slide because, well, as a man, it's easy to get complacent. It's easy to give in to comfort. But those women will despise you, right? Or you can be the guy who does stick to his guns. He sticks to what he believes and what he wants. And here comes the biggest conflict, right? Because this woman really, really likes this guy, right? But she does not want to submit to him. She does not want to be a housewife. She does not want to be a mother. She doesn't want to be responsible. She still wants to go party. She still wants to live her single life, right? Funny thing is, guys, that's not how it's been for most of, well, civilization, right? That's not how it's been. But we live in a time where it's very easy for women to become their own provider, to make a six-figure salary or more, right? A lot of laws, a lot of protections, a lot of things in place. And there's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to do better for herself. I think it's actually a good quality to find a woman who can be independent, just in case you become disabled or, things hit the fan and you have to rely on someone, right? Especially if you're thinking about marriage. It's good to have a woman who has those skills just in case. But see, what happens is the men who stick to their guns, the women don't like this. And what's going to happen is they're going to either stay with this dude and resent him for being too much, right? But they're never going to be true wife material. And that's why I also feel for a lot of guys, right? Because a lot of guys who have it figured out, who understand female nature, who are doing what they need to do, living their purpose, these women, they'll get involved with, right? They will be in a relationship, they will pursue something, but then basically they'll hit this wall. And what a lot of guys do is, well, there's really one of three things that guys end up doing. One, they break it off, which is normally the wisest choice, right? A lot less drama. You're not having to give up your values and what you stand for as a man. And if the woman comes around, if she wants to work things out, then maybe that's going to be the catalyst, so to speak, of that occurring, right? Maybe that's what it takes. It's happened, right? Some women, they've never met a guy who actually puts their foot down. Or guys, you'd be surprised, a lot of women have never had a guy break up with them, right? Second option, the man does what we call, and I really hate to use this term, guys, but, and the words actually slip my mind right at this moment, but, compromise, that's it. A lot of men hate to compromise, but they'll do it anyway. And the issue with compromise, there's a time and a place for it. But when you're dating, when you're pursuing a marriage, if a woman's not willing to follow your lead through the basics, right? Because things are going to get harder, right? Eventually, hopefully, maybe you'll have kids, you'll have a house, you'll have assets, you'll have things. Life will get very real very fast. And if you start to compromise on the basics and the values, which is what a lot of guys do, well, that's when you become that simp, eventually, right? The third option, and I really don't recommend this because this is what a lot of dating coaches, a lot of bad dating advice out there is telling men, and this is one of the biggest reasons I made this channel, is to give you the truth, right? Because there's a lot of BS being spewed out there. What a lot of guys will do is they will then go, okay, well, she's not really willing to submit to me. And so they stay in this limbo, right? Where they keep the girl at arm's distance, but they kind of lead her on into a relationship or some sort of, quasi relationship. And they end up stepping out on the woman a lot, right? Or they just don't tell her straight up, hey, I'm going to be dating other people, right? Some guys say you should say this at first. If it works for you, great. I think any woman who's really worth her time isn't going to stay around if you do that at first, right? It's okay to be dating multiple people, but if you're committed and then you kind of spring this on her, right? So if you're going to do it, at least let her know when you guys first start talking. But a lot of guys are just like, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to just go ahead and go out, date other women. And what happens is a lot of men just don't have, I'm going to be straight up with you, the balls to tell women no or to break up with them. And so you basically create much more jaded, much more cynical women, right? Because then they feel hurt, they feel wronged. Okay? A lot of guys aren't good with confrontation, or they just go, well, I'd rather have it all, right? I'd rather have her and all these other women. And so you end up making a lot of women really, pissed off. And I think as men, we need to realize that, it takes two to tango. It's not all the women's fault. We do contribute to some of this as well. That's why I don't agree with a lot of this ultra red pill concepts, because it's just damaging society even worse. You're contributing to the problem even more, right? If it's not going to work out, just break up with her, move on. But that's what happens, guys. A lot of women aren't willing to commit because, let's face it, a lot of people just aren't ready to commit, men included. It's become harder, yes, across the board for men to step up to the plate, to get things done. It's harder to earn money in some ways, right? In some ways, it's easier than ever. You just got to put in the time. You have to be consistent at something for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and eventually it'll pop off, right? That's why I've mentioned in my other videos, if you guys think that you are good at speaking, you want to make a YouTube channel, or maybe you really like a subject, guys, I'm telling you, I truly believe almost anybody can make a YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be like this. It can be your own niche, your own style, your own way of doing things, right? But if you really put your mind to it for a few years, if you're consistently delivering and trying to better other people's lives, guys, you can do something online. You can make money online. You're just going to have to use a little bit of your free time, right? Instead of spending 3 hours playing video games at the end of your day, maybe you spend an hour, hour and a half, and the other time you use creating content, right? Because a lot of men just aren't ready, right? And the world has basically made it where, let's be honest, unless you are very financially savvy and you know what you're doing, a lot of men are either playing catch up, they're just figuring out things, or they don't know how money works. And that's a basic thing, guys. Women need to be provided for, right? It's just the nature of things. But it's finding the right woman. It's finding the woman that's worth committing to. But see, women, for the most part, don't want to commit because they have a jaded view of men. They can't submit to a man. And guys, there is more to this as well. Women are told that they should live it up, right? There's this false narrative going around that women should party, live it up, do what you want to do all throughout your 30s. The problem is, while they're doing this, they do want to lock down men along the way. Don't get me wrong. They get with men who they look up to. But unless she's willing to give that up, those men, those what people would consider high value men, which is really just men who know what they want and aren't willing to put up with whatever a woman wants, right? Who sticks to his guns and is only going to commit to a woman who's going to submit to him and respect him. A lot of women want to live in this, I call it the twilight zone, right? It's not real. It's fantasy land. They want to party. They want to go out with friends. They want to live the single life, but they want to be committed. Everybody wants somebody. Don't get me wrong, guys. But you can't live two different lives. A lot of men will not put up with that. Smart men, wise men will not put up with that. So just be cognizant of that, right? Because I know a lot of you guys are using dating apps. A lot of people are going out, meeting people. Maybe you're talking to some girls. And it's okay, right? Talk to them, date them, go out, have fun, right? Make memories, right? Go out and have fun at an arcade, go bowling, go do some fun stuff, right? But be aware, because women have the right to change their mind at any point in time. Guys do too, but guys are normally more wired to want to commit to a woman, especially if she's halfway decent or she's putting on that front. And so you guys have to realize, okay, is this a front or is this who she is? And there's a lot of guys out there these days who are trying to find what they would consider, perfect women. And there's nothing wrong with this. I talk about this in my videos a lot. That should be your goal, right? You should set the bar really high. You should. Just like women. Women should set the bar high. There's nothing wrong with wanting a man who's financially well off, who has masculine qualities, right? But we need to be careful, men and women, who we commit to. Because if you get with a woman who has lived a party life, and you meet her and she thinks you're different and she thinks she can settle down with you, well, guys, you need to make sure that she's actually, if she starts bringing up commitment, wanting to be together, that's of course when you say, hey, this is what I expect. If she's partying, if she's going out, guys, until she brings that kind of thing up, or it just comes up naturally in conversation, even from you, right? If she's still living that lifestyle, there needs to be a very clear expectation that can't continue if you guys would be together. Now, you guys can be like, hey, I'm going to trust my girl, whatever. But sad thing is, guys, it really doesn't go both ways, because a lot of guys will go, hey, cool, you go do what you want. I'm going to do what I want. But really, the guy is the one who's committed. The guy is faithful and loyal. Women are going to go out. They're going to do their own thing. No accountability. They have other women talking in their ear. Of course, the way society is, eventually they're going to, because of all the stimulus, right? Going out, partying, living the single life, eventually you're going to probably run into someone that you're going to want to, you're going to want to pursue something with. So be mindful, guys. Be mindful that a lot of these women just aren't ready for that commitment. They're not ready to settle down. And that's where guys get heartbroken the most. It's better that you realize most women are not ready for that, even though they might kind of seem like they are, they might say they are. But until they show those actions, guys, it doesn't matter. And that's why, going back to my point about the perfect woman, you should aim for that. But if you come across a woman, maybe she's lived a lifestyle before, maybe nothing too crazy, but just, she's partied a little bit. A lot of guys jump to the worst conclusions, and I get that, but you got to be careful with that way of thinking, guys, because nobody's perfect and people can change, right? But if you come across a woman who's willing to change, who's willing to say, hey, cool, yeah, I will do this. Okay. Maybe don't jump into a relationship. Maybe don't jump in head first, but okay, cool. Feel it out. Give it some time. Pursue things a little bit deeper. Pursue things a little bit further. See if she's willing. See if, as the weeks go on, if she's actually true to her word, or if it's just a spur of the moment thing, right? Is it really a character change, or is it just, yeah, I want this guy to commit to me. I want to lock him down. Because that's what a lot of women do, guys. A lot of them. They know men are desperate. They know men want somebody. They know men are just looking for someone to be with. And so I understand why a lot of men turn into players, because they feel used, they feel spited. But the best thing you can do to protect yourself as a man is to know what you want, stick to what you want, stick to your guns, and be the man that she'll have no choice but to look up to. You see, a lot of women these days, guys, are going to test you as well. They're going to see if you're really made of what you are. Sometimes if it's nothing too serious, right, she might try to cross an expectation or a boundary. And that's when you have to put your foot down. Guys, there's been relationships that have worked out with guys and women who, the woman, she maybe pushed a little too far. She didn't think the guy was who he said he was. Guy puts his foot down. He leaves for a few days, a few weeks, whatever, right? She comes back around and she's like, hey, look, like, I screwed up. But don't hold your breath, guys, right? You're not out here trying to change women, okay? You're either compatible or you're not. And it goes both ways as well. I've talked about this in my other videos. As a man, you can't be an authoritative tyrant, right? You have to have compassion, patience, kindness. There's nothing beta about those qualities. Those are good qualities. If you find a woman who doesn't react or does not contribute in those areas, if she doesn't reciprocate those good qualities, guys, if she only reacts and reciprocates to bad treatment, guys, you need to look in the mirror, look at yourself. But first, you need to run. You need to run from that woman because she's not reacting the way that a healthy person does, right? A lot of guys have this weird idea now that you got to treat women really bad. That's an awful way to go about life. That'll just cause you many more problems. So guys, I just wanted to make that video for y'all today because I think a lot of guys are struggling with this. It's something to think about, but just realize most women aren't ready for that commitment. Be the best man you can be. Know what you want. Know what you're willing to walk away from, say no to, put your foot down to, and if she's willing to follow your lead, great. If not, she's not the one, guys. And that's life. It's always going to be the wrong one until it's the right one. So guys, if you have any experiences, if you want to share anything, let me know in the comments below. But I'll see y'all at the next one.